Welcome back. Here is our next case study number 19 from CA Final, Paper 3, ICA booklet on MCQs and case-based scenarios. RS Limited was set up by Raj and Shanti in 1992. Initially, the name of the company was Rajiv Private Limited. The company is currently into the business of aviation. The company has its head office in Chennai. The company has been in the same business since its incorporation, but over the years had to shut down its business 3 times due to operational inefficiencies and resultant losses. In the year 2012, when the company restarted its operation after shutting that down third time, the company got funding from a foreign investor. The management of the company increased its focus on the process of the company and various checks and controls to improve the efficiency of the operations. This gradually resulted in improving the overall business culture of the company, and gradually the company started earning profits. In the year 2016, the company got converted into a public company and got its name changed to RS Limited. After that, the company also tried to get listed on the New York Stock Exchange, but the market was not favorable and the company instead got listed in India. The company kept increasing its focus on operational efficiencies, which was also extended to all other processes of the company. Most importantly, the financial reporting, which was not focused earlier by the management. The company also appointed a large firm of chartered accountants, KB and Co, as its internal auditors, who have had a specialization in the same sector so that they can help the company to fill the gaps in the process wherever required. Some of them are the standard operating procedures, SOP, for the logistics process was not defined from the point of vehicle request received from the sales marketing department up to the bills verification. The management explained that part of this process was developed and remaining part was expected within the next 3 months. So a part of the work has been completed and the remaining part will be completed in next 3 months. It was noticed that during a particular period, cash in hand balance was higher than the actual cash requirement at some locations. The ratio of cash expenses to closing cash balance during that period ranged from 7 to 84 times. Further, the insurance cover was also not taken for the cash in hand kept at some locations. The management explained that this occurred only during a specific period and the insurance coverage plan was in place for the next year. On review of the procurement process, it was observed that the system was not engaged to show pending delivery of the same material while raising a subsequent purchase order, and the guidelines were not defined for review of open purchase orders and long pending orders. Management explained that this was due to lead time, locking in quality or price, lead time to shipment, delays in delivery due to rake unavailability, failure of vendors to supply material as per the timelines or quality, etc. And they will explore how system driven reporting can be done. It was observed that the credit limit assessment was not being performed for all the customers, which could result in possibility of credit being given to the customers with weak financial credibility, leading to bad debts or financial losses to the company. The management the management replied that they started the process of updating the credit limit in their ERP package, which shall be completed in a month's time for major customers and for customers wherever a temporary credit was defined. This would cover majority of the exposure. The company also appointed other consultants to improve operations and management functions. During the financial year ended 31st March 2018, the internal auditors of the company raised some observations which were discussed in detail with the management, primarily because the management was not agreeing to some of the points of the internal auditors. Subsequently, in the financial year ended 31st of March 2019, the management decided to set up its in-house internal audit function along with the CA firm KB and Co. The idea was to do the work in house, and over the period KB and company can move out once the management is confident of the in-house internal audit function. Considering the above mentioned facts, please provide your suggestions in respect of the following. So this is such a long case study we have gone through. We'll read each and every question. We'll identify the same issue from the question from the case study, and we'll answer them accordingly. Okay. Let's go through the questions. 19.1. Whether reporting of standard operating procedures SOP for the logistic process as discussed in the scenario is required to be reported. So it is speaking, the entire question is speaking about the internal auditor. You should understand whether the internal auditor is required to report any such matter which needs to be understood, which needs to be brought to the notice of the board of directors and the management, so that they can rectify the same even before the statutory auditor notifies it. Okay, that is the only difference between the internal auditor and the statutory auditor is the responsibility of reporting. Internal auditor is responsible to the management, whereas the statutory auditor is responsible to be reported to the shareholders. Okay, that is the only difference. Otherwise everything is fine. The independent because of this, the scope of independence differs over here. Okay, we'll go through the question where the standard operating processes has been discussed. See, here it is. So the management is trying to fill some gaps in the process, wherein some of them are the standard operating processes for the logistics process was not defined from the point of vehicle request received from the marketing department up to the bills verification. So there is no proper procedure regarding the receipt point of vehicle of request and the sales marketing department. So this particular process needs to be revised and developed in such a manner that everything falls under the proper procedure. Okay, the management explained that part of this process was developed and the remaining part was expected within a next 3 months. Okay, so the management is already in the process and it has completed a part of the process, and it is pretty well sure that the balance process, that the remaining part of the process is expected to be completed within a period of next 3 months. Okay, now here a question arises whether the internal auditor required to report this particular matter in his audit report or not. Audit report in the sense internal audit report. Just think, internal auditor has to give this point to the in his audit report, stating that this is a particular point upon which the management has given this particular contention, and we want this to be completed within the next 3 months. Okay, it is like a reminder check. So internal auditor, even if the process is in the work in progress stage, has to report such matter in his audit report. We'll go through the options. Option A says this is more of a documentation and hence not relevant for the management. Is that so? The management has to develop a proper system. So if internal auditor fails to highlight this point, then how will the management knows? It may think that the process has been completed, but actually it is not. So it is not merely because of documentation, it has to be highlighted in his report and should be brought to the notice of the management. Therefore option A is wrong. Option B says auditor should highlight and report this matter in his audit report. Yes, this is what we are thinking. So internal audit report should highlight this particular point as to standard operating processes, and then this particular matter should be brought to the notice of the management. Okay, even if the management knows this, you need to particularly include in your report. Option C says the matter is already under development, should not be considered by the auditor. No, even if the matter is under the process of development, you need to highlight this point in your report. Management needs to demonstrate the development process further and gets this issue closed. No, when will this issue be closed? Whenever the entire particular process, standard operating procedures have been fulfilled and everything is in order, only then this particular issue will be closed. Merely because of the explanation of management doesn't close this matter. Okay, therefore option B is the correct option for this question. Let's move on further. Question number 19.2, contention of the management about cash balance and the insurance coverage plan matter is in order. Comment. So you have noticed that management has identified few cash balances, huge cash balances, right? Here it was noted that during a particular period, cash in hand balance was higher than actual cash requirement at some locations. The ratio of cash balance to closing cash balance during the period ranges from 7 to 84 times. Further, the insurance cover was also not taken for the cash in hand kept at some locations. The management explained that this is occurred only during the specified period and the insurance coverage plan was in place for the next year. So even if the management is saying that we have taken an insurance plan for the next year, you should never ignore cash balances. Even if it is a difference of 1 rupee also, you need to clearly identify why such difference has been erased. Okay, you just can't say that cash balance is very negligible, so I am ignoring it, because cash plays an important role in the business. Okay, you need to clearly identify where such differences arises. So we'll go through the options. Option A says matter should be reported by the auditor in his audit report. Yes, this needs to be included, right? This needs to be reported that a particular cash balance has been maintaining in a huge, it is nearly 7 to 84 times in some locations, and moreover there is no insurance plan. So this particular point has to be highlighted and should be reported in internal audit report. Okay, so option A seems to be correct, but still we'll go through the other options. The management needs to explain the amount involved, and if that is low, then the auditor should ignore this. No, even if such balance is low cash balance, insurance has to be taken and everything should be in order. You just can't ignore because the cash balance is low. Okay, option B is wrong. The cash balance should not be looked at by the internal auditor, as this is more relevant from financial reporting. No, even the internal auditor is uh, responsible for the financial reporting. He should assist the management, and he should even identify where there are differences, deviations, and the lack of internal controls. All these things needs to be reported. Even the internal auditor is responsible for the financial reporting aspects, because whenever the statutory auditor comes, he will look into everything which is impacting the financial statements. So even internal auditor is responsible for getting the financial statements as a true and fair view. Okay, therefore option C is wrong. Option D says internal auditor should only report about non-availability of insurance coverage to the management. No, internal auditor should never ignore the cash balances that are maintained in huge volumes. Usually cash balances has to be for day-to-day operations. 1 or 2 days operations, you can maintain a cash balance, but you cannot maintain a huge cash balance, and that too without an insurance cover. Therefore, internal auditor should not only report about the insurance non-availability of insurance coverage, but also he should report that huge cash balances are being maintained in some locations. Okay, therefore option A is the correct option for question number 19.2. We'll move on further. Question number 19.3. Explanation given by management regarding pending delivery status to be shown in a system and guidelines was due to lead time, locking in quantity or price, lead time to shipment, details in delivery due to rake unavailability, failure of vendors to supply material as per timelines or quality, etc. And they will explore how system driven reporting can be done is viable. So the question is about whether the internal auditor should highlight this point in his report, or he should ignore this point in his report. It is saying that we have some pending delivery challans, and moreover, besides utilizing those challans, they have even raised a few purchase orders separately. We'll go through the point from the case study. Yes, here it is. On review of the procurement procedures, it means procurement means it is relating to the purchase point of view. Okay, It was observed that the system was not unable to show pending delivery of the same material while raising a subsequent purchase order. So, what happened? You are not identifying the pending delivery status of your challans which were already been raised. So, you have purchased an X material from ABC company and the same has not been delivered to you. But now you are in need of the material. Besides tracking upon the status of the material that was purchased from ABC company, you are raising a new purchase order from XYZ company. So which is wrong? Because the company might have already paid to the existing creditor, purchaser, or the supplier, whatever. So the company should track whether there are any pending purchase orders which the company has to receive, and before placing any new order should clearly identify that there are no pending challans or the pending purchase orders, okay, before placing a subsequent purchase order. What happened because of this? And the guidelines were not defined for review of open purchase orders and long pending orders. So there is no particular process of identifying what was the status of these pending orders. And without even tracking these pending orders, the company is making new purchase orders, because of which the company is running into losses. Because if you are making two purchase orders, you need to pay to the both the suppliers, because of which the company is incurring a huge losses. So this needs to be identified. Now, okay, the management has explained this due to because of many reasons, that is due to locking in quantity or price, lead time, shipment, whatever it might be. You need to report this in your audit report, right? Even the statutory auditor should identify this, and he should report accordingly in his audit report. Since in this question we are discussing about the internal auditor should also report this matter in his audit report. Okay, we'll go through the options. Option A says this was an operational challenge and hence out of the purview of the internal auditor. Is that so? No. Internal auditor should highlight this point in his audit report. Therefore, option A is wrong. Option B says this relating to some system constraints and hence may be ignored by the internal auditor. No, internal auditor cannot ignore, because this is relating to the softwares or the systems that was maintained by the client. Option C says the internal auditor needs to highlight this in his report. Yes, this is what the internal auditor should do. Therefore, option C seems to be the correct, but still we'll go through the other option. The management should draw a proper plan to take care of this. In any case, there doesn't appear to be any financial impact due to this, and hence the same should be ignored. Now, how can you say that there won't be any financial impact? If you are placing two purchase orders and if you receive both the orders, but you are in need of only the one purchase order, then this will lead to maintaining huge volumes of inventory, and also you need to pay to your supplier, right? There might be a credit period of 30 days or 60 days, but beyond that you need to pay, right? Even after 60 days you need to pay. So the inventory levels are increasing. It is a block of it is blocking your cash balance. There is no movement. What will you do with that excess stock? Nothing. Only if you have excess demand for your sales, then this particular stock will be used. What will you do without any sales also? So there is no point of maintaining huge inventory balance. Therefore, option D is wrong. The final option for answer for this question is option C. The internal auditor needs to highlight this in his report. Moving further, question number 19.4. Whether internal auditor is required to report regarding credit limit assessment. So we have identified in the question, see, it was observed that the credit limit assessment was not being performed for all the customers, which would result in a possibility of credit being given to customers with weak financial credibility, leading to bad debts or financial losses to the company. So the management is not assessing the credit viability of its customers, and it is giving credits to its customers. Because of this, it is suffering bad debts or losses, financial losses to the company. So because of this, the management wants to update the credit limits in its ERP system. Now we'll go through the options and we'll finalize the correct answer. Option A says, since the management has already taken remedial action, internal auditor should drop this point. Just because the management has taken any particular remedial action, does the responsibility as an internal auditor uh, will waive off? No. Just because the management has taken some action, the responsibility of reporting as an internal auditor doesn't waive off. Therefore, option A is wrong. Option B says, since this matter relating to financials, this should not be covered. This should be covered by the statutory auditors and not the internal auditors. I have previously mentioned you that both the statutory auditors and the internal auditors works in a similar lines. They work in a parallel way, but the only difference is the scope of independence and the reporting responsibilities. Okay, therefore it is not only the duty of statutory auditor to report this particular matter, even the internal auditor should report this particular matter relating to the credit facilities, because of which the company is running into losses. And moreover, the company has appointed these internal auditors just to have a proper record of its financial books of accounts, and also to mitigate the gaps between the processes. Okay, we'll move on further. Option C says, the management said the statutory auditors have also raised this point and hence internal auditors should drop this. Is that so? No. Even if the statutory auditors have raised their point, the duty to report as an internal auditor still exists. Therefore, this option is also wrong. Option D says internal auditors should report this irrespective of the fact whether the statutory auditors cover this or not. This is the correct option. You need to report irrespective of the fact whether the statutory auditors have covered this particular point in their audit report or not. Therefore, option D is the correct option. We'll move on further. Question number 19.5. The management's plans to phase out the CA firm by building up an in-house internal audit team has been questioned by the statutory auditors, saying that this is not acceptable. Who are you to say that appointing an internal auditor by the management is not acceptable? It all depends upon the management. If it wants their day-to-day activities to be audited, then they will appoint an internal auditor. So here the contention of the statutory auditors is wrong. Okay, and the management has its own discretion to appoint an internal auditor. And moreover, there are few conditions where management has to mandatorily appoint an internal auditor as per the Companies Act. Okay, we'll go through the options. Option A says statutory auditors are correct. Is that so? No. The contention of statutory auditors is wrong. Option B says statutory auditors should observe this for a period, and if that is working fine, then they should have no concern regarding this. No, who are you to decide whether the particular internal auditor is working properly or not? It is the responsibility of the management. They will look into it. If you have any concerns, or if you have noticed any drawbacks in the working of the internal audit, then you should report this to the management. And you are not the sole authority over the sole person who needs to decide whether internal auditor has to be appointed or not. Okay, option B is wrong. Option C says the management has discretion regarding this, hence statutory auditors are not correct. Therefore, option C is the correct option for our question, which is agreeing with our viewpoint. The management has a discretion to appoint internal auditors and statutory auditors are not correct. Option D says the management should take an approval from the relevant authority like MCA, and then the statutory auditors would have to accept this. No, there is no particular provision regarding taking an approval from MCA and appointing an internal auditor. It is solely at the discretion of the management whether to have an internal auditor or not. And moreover, there are few restrictions of the few conditions wherein the company has to appoint a mandatory internal auditor as per the Companies Act. Therefore, to this question number 19.5, option C is the correct option. With this, we have completed our 19th case study as well. That's all for today. If you find any doubts, if you have any query regarding any particular point, please do mention the page number and the question number. See here, if you have any doubt regarding 19.4, please mention page 169 and question 19.4. Then it will be easy for me to identify and address your query. Okay. That's all for today. If you find these videos helpful, please do like, share, and subscribe. Share with your friends and help them to revise at the earliest. Thanks for watching.